Queen Mary to ocean liner build, and as you'll be able to see here, I'm finally going to start gluing the two sides of the hull together. And what I've done here is I've just done these inserts that go inside for support, and I've just glued them in, so I'm going to leave them for a few hours to make sure that they set properly. And I've already done a test fit with the other half, and it should be fine. Well, it will be fine. Only one area I have a bit of concern is around the bow here. It's a bit, it's got to be pushed together quite tight to fit. So what I've got is I've got some here, I've got some clamps ready to clamp the side together if I need to. I've got some electrical tape. I thought I'd use electrical tape because it's a bit softer and easier to use and stretches a little bit, so you can put it on quite tight. So I'll use that to tape up around just to keep everything firm. The other side is going to go on pretty much like this. It's going to sit in there like that. What I have to do is be careful in here, make sure this lines up in here, because this is where the little propeller piece goes inside for these side thrusters. And I've glued in one side, and as long as that matches to that, that'll be fine. Like I said, I have test fitted it, and it will be okay once they come up and join pretty much like it is there now, if you can see that. I'll just bring this over a bit more. So that's going to join in like that, and then I'll just put a bit of glue down in there after that's in, so just to hold it in place. And then, like I said, it'll be a matter of clamping it around, putting some tape around it, and then leaving it well and truly overnight to set. So that's the plan. Down here should be down on the keel, should be fine. Where it drops down, that'll be easy to clamp. And if I do need to come in on both sides and put some pressure in, then I have my big fellas here, which will they'll be able to clamp it on either side there. And also, even though these are sort of a softer plastic, they can still scratch. So I have got some spare like bits of padding material from packaging that I use just to put under the clamps here, just to protect things. You don't want gouging gashes in the side of the hull from being scraped by these things. Alright, so I'm going to get on with this. I'll just have a break now while these two bits dry, and then we'll come in and attempt to glue this half to that half and have our ship in one piece. Alright, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, welcome back, and as you can see here, I've glued the hull together, and come in and have a look here. So there it is. I ended up using the Revell contactor glue all the way through, and then after I joined it, and then you'll see here that I've got it all clamped so that we can let that all set and dry overnight. Pretty tricky it was, especially up in the front here. It was a bit hectic trying to get things to line up, but I did eventually. And the brackets in the center, particularly this front one here, caused a bit of trouble, but it turns out it wasn't sitting in straight, so that caused a bit of a gap, which I fixed. and I've used some tape in a few spots there to keep it all tight together. And then what I did was I ran another layer of down the centre of the hull there is some Tamiya cement. I've just pretty much just layered that all the way down to give that extra tight seal. So yeah, finally got it all glued together. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it as it is now. I'm not going to touch it for a good 12 hours or more overnight, and we'll come back and have a look at it. Alright, cheers, back shortly. Okay, hello, welcome back. So it's the next morning. I've let this sit here all night. Should all be nice and dry now, the glue. So let's take off some of these brackets and supports and see what we're left with here. First we'll undo these. Comes off easily. Take this one off. There. Good. Don't hear anything cracking or snapping, so that's a good sign. Take this one off. Tape holding that. And this back one off here. We've got one on the top one here. Just remove all these clamps out of the way and we'll take the tape off. I'm back in a sec. Okay, so let's have a look. Get some of this tape off. Get off the bow. Good. Oops, sorry, there we go. Take this off here. It's been a while since we've, well, we haven't seen it all in one piece, but to get an idea of the size of it. Good. So far so good. Down the back here. Turn it around. I put just another piece across the bottom here, just to make sure that was held tight. Oh, now it's starting to look like an ocean liner. So the support pieces in here are in nice and firm in their correct position. I did run some extra layer of glue all the way along that base bottom there to strengthen it all the way through. I did notice when I was checking earlier, I don't know if we can see, but there was a bit of a gap, and it looks like it's gone now, which is good. Don't see any light coming through. Oh, there it is under there. So I don't know if you'll be able to see where because of where the camera is, but under there is a gap. Yeah, there's a tiny gap in there, which is not a problem. I'll just put a bit of glue on the inside of that and then give it a bit of a paint over the top, so that'll fill that. Otherwise, I'm not going to be too concerned about doing, I could do a lot of work underneath here, but this is not going into a show or anything, and nobody is ever going to lift it up and look underneath. So, I could sand down. There's a raised bit all the way along that edge there, and I may still just do that part. But from this point of view that you're going to be looking at the ship, not a problem. The front's really nice. It's all lined up nicely. I might just smooth that off just a little bit. The stern is fine, no problem at all. So yeah, I'm happy, I'm impressed, I'm happy with that. It even went together well down here, and I'll just readjust the camera back so we can have a better look. So you'll notice my plug down in there for the power. There it is in the bottom there, and that comes through here to plug into the stand. But yeah, I'll just readjust the camera back and we'll have another look. Okay, that's better. So like I was saying, the section in here, they came together perfectly. I just dropped a bit of glue in there as I was holding the pieces together, and they all lined up fine. So what I've actually got here now is that I'll have this side, I'm doing both differently. So the little hatchways there will be closed on this side, whereas this side I've left the option of being able to swivel them open, so depending on which way I want the model facing. Right, now where am I up to now? I guess that ticks off number 7 in the instructions. Step 7 is done. We already did step 8, which was putting in these stabilizers, which I've got all made up in my boxes of bits and pieces. So they're all done and made up, but of course I won't be putting those in because this needs paint and they're white. But they're done, so that's done. Then if I have a look at the instructions, where are we? Sorry. Okay. Step 9 was also the stabilizers, so step 8 and 9 are done. And exciting times, we can turn the page over. Alright, so step 10 is pretty much painting the sides of the ship here, the whole section. And it looks like also it's going to involve putting on decals, which can be done at a later date, but we'll see how it goes, and most likely it will be. So yeah, painting, which means masking. Now we've got step 11 here, which is putting in the little props here to go on the back, and all the screws, which will be something that we'll leave way to the end, because that's something that if you have things like that sitting on there, you could knock them off. So I'd rather have it sitting flat like it is now and I can work on it than having bits protruding off the bottom that are going to probably get damaged and broken. So that will be left till later. Step 12, which is all the balconies along here, you would have seen in the previous video, we've actually done all that. They're painted, all the balconies are painted, and they look like they go on in step 12 here, which is unusual because they have a peg. They have a picture here with 2 pegs, if you can see that. 2 pegs, which, fair enough, yep, that's a good way to hold them on there, but why are we using pegs to hold them on there? Wouldn't glue be better? And I know further on in the instructions there's nowhere where it tells you to remove those pegs and glue it, so that's a little bit confusing. But yeah, so basically it will be then putting those on and then putting the whole thing down on the stand to work on, which is fine. We don't get too far ahead of ourselves here, but then we start working on deck areas after that, which I've been told there's a lot of work and modifications and scratch building, which I may or may not do. Depends on I don't know, my skill level, I guess, patience, ability to access things that I might need, like styrene and stuff. That's, you know, we're still in lockdown here, and it's very difficult to get hold of some things that I may need. But anyway, that's a while off. Now it's going to be masking up this hull and getting some paint on it. So I'll get myself sorted out here and have a look at this and get my head around what needs to be done, and we'll come back and progress. Alright, back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So I thought I'd just show you, I did decide to clean up underneath a bit. So what I've done here is I've smoothed that out, sanded that all back. Focus. So it's looking a lot better. Can't feel anything there now. All the way along there was a few rough bits along under here too. Right through, I've left that. That was all fine. I also did right up on here as well. So I've just smoothed all that and taken the edge off. So that's all nice and rounded on there now. And same with the stern as well. On here. It's all smooth now. So there's no need to fill anything. It was just good. So what I'll do now is I've got to clean up all the dust off it. I guess you'd call it plastic dust, not sawdust. And give it all a good wipe down, and then I'll just touch up along those seams with some undercoat, which is the Mr. Surfacer primer, and just get that all looking nice again. And then I'll look at masking. So the idea for masking up to start with is to do the red part of the hull on the bottom. Now we've got some lines here. Now the thing with this one is this comes with a decal, which shows the waterline mark and all the way up to the top to the end here. So the idea, what I'm going to do is, it's not really a problem where the red goes, because everything above there is going to be painted black, and then of course white above that. But I don't want red getting everywhere, so I will mask up some of this, and it'll all be red underneath, all the way under. All of this, everything under here is going to be all the way done in the red. And the red, by the way, is Insignia red, which is this one here. So that's the one I'm going to use. I think I have 2 bottles of that, just to be sure I've got enough. pretty sure 2 bottles will be plenty. This SMS paint, you don't thin this, it just sprays straight from the bottle, which means you only get what's in the bottle, you won't get 50-50, an extra 50%. So I'll just show you the decal. I'll grab the decal and we'll have a look at that, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so along this section of the ship here, there's decals number 42 and 86, and then for the other side there's 41 and 85, and it's this thin strip that runs the whole length all the way up and includes a white waterline mark. Now on the decals themselves, here they are here. We'll have a look at this. So there's the section there, one section of it, basically everything red. This comes in, looks like 3 sections. So as long as my red that I'm doing, the insignia red, comes up to the level where this is, which is probably better to look at it that way, meets up to that, then this will go from that point on. Actually, it's that way up, because I can just see this tiny little white line. And that's the reason why I want to use these decals, because that white waterline mark that runs around the ship is so thin, it would be so hard to mask off and paint that, whereas here it's already built into the decal. Also, we've got all the other markings on the decals as well, measurements, water depth, lots of other little bits on there. So that's going to be my line for the red. Everything above that will be the black. So what I'll have to do then will be just mark off the edge of the red with tape after it's dried, and then of course mark off where I want the white to begin, and then everything in between that will be the, well, I say black, but it's not black. It's actually going to be the German grey that we're going to use. So there's our SMS German grey that will get used for it, and of course I've got 2 bottles of that. Yeah, so that's the plan. That's the plan. As for these little parts here, which I've got here, so this side they'll be the closed ones, and the other side are the open ones. What I'm going to do is I will just put a little bit of masking over those. It's not going to matter too much if I get overspray on them, because they're the same colour. They're the same insignia red that I'm using. What does matter is on the other side, whereas these ones I want to display open like that, and you'll see they need a bit of a touch up with the paint anyway, but that's not going to matter. What I don't want is paint getting into there and blocking where we can look in there and see the blades of the screws in there, which you need pretty good eyesight to see anyway, but they are there. So the idea with this will be, once again, I will close those up, put a bit of masking on them, and they'll be fine while they get painted. And then I can just open them up afterwards, and I'll have no paint on the inside. That's also the plan. Yeah. So I guess I better start giving this a bit of a clean. I'll also remove the plug from inside, because I don't want to be painting over that. That just unscrews here and then it slides out, so that's fine. And I'll just block that hole. Well, I don't really want much red paint in there, but I mean, you can put anything in there. You could use a bit of blue tack even. You know, just get a nice fresh piece of blue tack and like this, and just block the hole. Yeah, that might also work on the hatches into those front thrusters on the side. Anyway, all right, I'll get on with this, and we'll be back shortly. Hello, welcome back. So what I've done is I gave it a bit of a clean, just wiped it all over, used a damp cloth, make sure there was no plastic dust or anything left on there after I sanded everything. And now, as you can see, I've got some masking tape running around with some cling wrap, as we call it, going all the way over, just to protect it from overspray. Now I don't need to do this because, you know, everything's going to be painted, so, you know, but I don't really want to get red everywhere. So I've taped it along just above the line where the decal I showed you earlier will be fitted over. So that'll all be painted red. So if there is any overspray, it'll just go under where the black's, well, not black, I keep saying black, where the dark German grey of the hull will be, so it's not going to have any effect on it. But all this under here will be sprayed the red. And I just realised I forgot to take the plug out of the bottom, which I need to access into there, but anyway, that's fine, I'll get that. And that's it, yeah. So yeah, I better take that out. These I won't block, I won't bother. It doesn't matter if a bit of red gets in there. There's nothing but, you know, nothing to be a problem. In here where these are, I will just be spraying pretty much. What I'll do is, this is the side where I'm going to have them open, but I'll have them closed while I'm spraying. And then what I'll do is, when I'm done spraying, the little lip that's around in there that they sit against, I'll just hand brush that. I'll just hand brush that there and put it back and put them back on after. The main point here is I want to be out, I don't want these to seal while the paint dries into a particular position. I still like to be able to just open them up a little bit. Alright, so that's it. So I will, before I forget, get that plug out of the bottom there so I don't paint it. And then I guess I'll start spraying this Insignia red, did I say? Yes, Insignia red. We'll double check that. Alright, back shortly. Okay, hello, welcome back. And I've just painted the hull. I'll put a picture up in the corner up here to have a look at, and at the progress. I'm just got that drying. It'll leave it out all day. It's a really nice day today, so it'll be fine tomorrow. In the meantime, nothing else to do. I thought I had a look at the swimming pools on board. Now I was thinking about how I'm going to do them. So what I did was I got a bit of styrene and I built a couple of swimming pools, and then I put a bit of paint in each one, a couple of colours that I like. So not all the same colour. There's one, I think there's just one of the pools is darker and the other three are a lighter blue. Now this is just an experiment, so there's my swimming pools. They're not the best, you know, they're probably going to leak if they were a real pool, that's for sure. But the idea is that I'm just trying to figure out what I will do on the ship. So what I've used is I've used a flat blue, which is this one here, and you can see it is flat, there's no shine on it, but I will be doing a gloss clear coat over the top anyway. And the other one I used was this one, Mr. Hobby's semi-gloss intermediate blue, but I didn't like it. It was a sort of a grey blue. Didn't work. Didn't think that was going to work, so I ended up using this, which is violet. And I used the violet with the blue already painted on the bottom, and I got that result, which I think looks quite good. So if we have a look clearly, you look at them. So yeah, there it is. Now after these dry, I'll give a quick spray of just a straight gloss clear. Well, actually that's a semi-gloss. This is actually a full gloss, so I'll use this one, top coat here, Mr. Hobby. just give it a quick squirt, and then that'll put a shine in there. And then the idea is to get some of this, which is a clear silicon seal, kitchen and bathroom silicon sealant. I want to squeeze some of that out and put them in there. Try to anyway. Flatten it out, and hopefully that's going to look like water. That's the plan. Don't know till you try, so yeah, I'll give it a go. The idea also is to remember that on some of the pools, probably all of the pools, there's going to be some fibre optics coming up into the corners for the lights that are in the water inside the pool. So depending on the pool, yeah, I'm going to be drilling little holes down in there and running some fibre optic cable up there, which will run down into the ship where the LED lights are, and that will project the light up into the pool. That's another plan that I think will work. I hope will work. Anyway, you don't know till you try. So that's the plan for that. So I'll let that dry now. It won't take long, give it another hour. I'll give it a quick squirt with the clear gloss. And it's getting a bit late in the afternoon now, so I probably won't get to put this in there. This stuff dries clear, and it's best to leave 24 hours. I used this on the water diorama for my Scharnhorst German battleship. And it seemed to come up alright on there, but I'm not too sure just how clear it will be, and if there was light in there, whether it would get through or not. But anyway, don't know till you try, so we'll try this. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back, and it's been a couple of days actually, and here's the results of our swimming pool test. So look at that. So I'm pretty happy with that. We've got two different shades of blue, which I'm going to go with. They've come up really nice. This one, the darker one, was with the flat blue, which I also gave a bit of a clear coat before I put the silicone in it. And that's come up really nice. It's got that really nice effect of water. And the good thing is you can see through it too. So I'm pretty sure that once I got some fibre optics going up into the bottom of the pool, into the corners, it should light up the blue quite well. And the lighter one was actually a violet colour, and it was over a base of a little bit of this one, which was a metallic blue, and that came up really nice too. So there you go. That's what the water's going to look like at this point. So yeah, it's come up really good. I like the way that's worked out. I've got some kept in here, which I don't know if it'll stay that way or not, how airtight that is, whether it's all going to seal up on me, but if I need to, I can make up some more of the silicone. Okay, good. So I'll get back on with the hull actually. Well, I'll bring out that. It's all painted. The red section is all done. So I'll bring that out and we'll have a look at it. Okay, back in a second. Okay, so let's have a look at the hull. So we've got that all painted red. It's come up really nice. It's had 3 days, I think it is. 3 days to dry. You'll see that on this side I've got these left open so we can look inside, but on the other side I've gone with the closed option, so we can go either way. And yeah, there it is. It's come up quite good. Nice. Now obviously the line's not perfect because it doesn't need to be, because there'll be a decal running across there, but I will be, to do the black area, I'll be masking up the line above where the decal will sit, so even that line doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it's sort of inside where the marks are on the ship, up to where it will be white again. So this will be masked all the way along and done, and then that way I can do the white. I'm not sure whether I would do the black first or the white first. I'm sort of going more towards, I'm not sure. Actually, what I am thinking about is doing the white first. So because then it won't matter if I get some overspray, as long as I get the white all the way along where it's supposed to be, then I can tape up and do the black and get a nice straight black line on the white. I think that'd be the way to go. Obviously the decal that runs along there will sort of span the gap between the red and the black at the bottom there. So yeah, that would be the idea. So what I would do is probably just run some tape along here, wrap this in plastic again to protect it just from any overspray, and just hit all the white that needs to be done. Okay, so I'll be back shortly as usual. Okay, welcome back. So what I've decided was I'm going to end the video here because it's getting long enough, and I'll probably devote the next video all to doing this hull that needs to be painted, because that alone will take up a full video, I'm sure, because not only do we have to paint the black, the German grey on here, and do all the white area and the masking, but there's also dozens of decals that need to go on here too. So there's all these little bits, all these numbers here, all the decals to go on both sides of the ship, and those I want to put on after I've done a clear coat over the whole thing when it's painted. So this will take me throughout the week to do. Once I've got the white done, which I was going to do next, and that's dried up for a couple of days, that I'm confident that I can mask over without ripping paint off. That's the important thing. And then doing the black, I keep saying black, German grey, and letting that dry for a couple of days as well. Then it's going to be a case of putting a clear coat across the whole thing, and that's going to need at least 2 good days to dry properly, and then it'll be all the decals. So there's a good week's work in that alone. But I want to get all that done now, because doing all the decals on this will be much easier to do now, before we start working on building up on the top of the ship with all the superstructure and everything else. While it's easy to handle and it's light and we can maneuver it a lot easier, yeah, doing the decals on here and getting that done straight up would be the best way. Alright, so once again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit that thumbs up if you like the video. If you're watching this for the first time, go back to the playlist and watch it from the unboxing right through up to part 6 that we're at now. And please comment below. Your comments are welcome, and I'm getting some really good tips and really good comments from people that have offered me some good advice, particularly in relation to the stand and how to go about attaching the power cord underneath that and raising the stand up a little bit. So I had some really good comments about that. Any other suggestions along the way are welcome as well. Alright, so thanks a lot, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all in part 7. Okay, bye for now, cheers.